What's up, everyone? Welcome into Keeping It Breezy, courtesy of High Fiber Sports. I'm Matt Kobold, and I've got to talk about the NBA draft tonight. Coming to you here on Monday, June 23rd, 2 days before the big two-day event kicks off. Now, I would label this draft as a solid draft. It's good, but it's not great. You had Charlotte, Washington, Utah. They're all tanking. They're tanking all year for the big prize. The big prize, Cooper Flag, the phenom from Duke. Only 18 years old, skipped his senior year of high school. These teams tank for him. The lottery balls, probably rightfully so, they didn't bounce their way. They slotted them 4, 5, and 6, Charlotte, Utah, and Washington. The top two picks, pretty consensus here all across the board. Cooper Flag, Dylan Harper, but after that it could get crazy. And that leads me right in to the number one pick in the 2025 NBA draft. I have the Dallas Mavericks taking Duke phenom Cooper Flag. Like I said, he's still only 18 years old. Listed at 6'8", 221 pounds. He averaged 19 points per game last season, 7.5 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and a block. He led Duke in all 5 of those statistical categories. Ben Simmons at LSU is the only other freshman to ever do that. Cooper Flag was the first Division I player to average 19 points, 7 boards, 4 assists, a steal, and a block since Penny Hardaway in 1993. Flag is also the first player in Division I history with at least 700 points, 250 rebounds, 150 assists, 50 steals, and 50 blocks in a single season. This boy is special, franchise changing. He will be the 5th Dookie to go number 1 overall, following Paolo Banchero in 2022, Zion in 2019, Kyrie in 2011, and Elton Brand in 1999. I love Cooper Flag's fit next to Anthony Davis in that front court. I'm excited to see what Cooper Flag can do in Dallas. And with the number 2 pick in the 2025 NBA draft, I had the San Antonio Spurs taking Dylan Harper out of Rutgers. 6'4 and a half, 213 pounds. He was a freshman. A lot of freshmen here, fellas. Dylan Harper, he averaged 19 and a half points, 4.5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1.5 steals last year at Rutgers. He will be the first Scarlet Knight to ever go top 5 in the modern draft era. He averaged the most points for a Big Ten freshman since Eric Gordon for the Hoosiers in 2008. Dylan Harper is actually only the second Big Ten freshman ever to average 19 points and 4 assists. The other guy was D'Angelo Russell. I like Dylan Harper going to San Antonio. You got De'Aaron Fox in the backcourt. You got Steph Castle as a two-way player. I like those 3 guys. On the perimeter next to Wemby. Hopefully Wemby's good to go. The Spurs, they're coming. They're coming. Just wait. Dylan Harper, great pickup for them. Now with the 3rd pick in the 2025 NBA draft, I have the Philadelphia 76ers taking Baylor freshman VJ Edgecombe. Now, this is where the drafts can go crazy. The top 2 picks, I think they're pretty locked in. Cooper Flag and Dylan Harper. Number 3, I don't know what the Sixers are going to do. I can easily see them trading this pick. Why would they want a young 18, 19-year-old? You got Joel Embiid. You got Paul George ain't getting any younger. Tyrese Maxey is developing. Jared McCain, first-round pick last year. But I can see this pick getting traded. But with the number 3 pick, I got VJ Edgecombe from Baylor going. 6'4", 193-pound freshman from Baylor. 15 points a game last year, 5.6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. He's going to be the first top 5 pick from Baylor in the modern draft era. How about that? VJ Edgecombe and Cooper Flag were the only players last season to total 30-plus dunks, 50-plus threes, and 100-plus made free throws. Pretty solid versatility right there. I like VJ Edgecombe probably more so going number 3 overall than to the 76ers, but I think this is where the draft could get crazy. Look out here. With the number 4 pick in the 2025 NBA draft, I had the Charlotte Hornets taking another Duke freshman, Con Knueppel. Now, I want to be straight about this. I don't think Con Knueppel is the fourth best player in this draft, but I don't think Charlotte wants one of these alpha big dogs like Trey Johnson or Ace Bailey. I like Con Knueppel's fit next to LaMelo Ball alongside Brandon Miller. That's a sexy threesome on the perimeter. Con Knueppel measured at 6'5", 219 pounds, averaged 14 and a half points last year, 4 boards, 2.5 assists, 40% from three. He's going to space it for LaMelo. Con Knueppel was the only freshman in the country last season to have at least 100 assists and 80 made threes. Like I said, might not be the fourth best player in this draft, but I like Con Knueppel's fit next to LaMelo and Brandon Miller. With the number 5 pick in the 2025 NBA draft, I had the Utah Jazz, who wanted to really tank for Cooper Flagg, but they fell to number 5. I have the Jazz taking Texas freshman Trey Johnson. 6'5", 190 pounds. He averaged 19.9 points per game last year. That led the SEC. 3 boards, 2.5 assists, 40% from three. He can knock it down. Trey Johnson would be the first Texas player to go top 5 since Tristan Thompson in 2011. Been a little bit there. Utah, they need a big dog. I don't. The direction they've been tanking for a couple of years now. They got a lot of big men playing on the perimeter. But I like Trey Johnson going there and possibly being a leading scorer sooner than we think. Big potential for Trey Johnson in Utah. With the number 6 pick in the 2025 NBA draft, I have the Washington Wizards taking Ace Bailey out of Rutgers. Now, this is the mystery man right here. This is the guy that, he'd go number 3. He'd go number 3. I see him dropping. 6'7.5", 203 pounds from Rutgers. He's a freshman. He was listed at 6'10" at Rutgers, by the way. 6'10", measured in at 6'7.5". Come on. Reportedly, Ace Bailey, he canceled all his private workouts. Now, that tells me maybe he has a promise from somebody. I'm hearing maybe Brooklyn. Brooklyn doesn't pick until number 8. So Brooklyn would have to make a move up because Ace Bailey's not going to be there at number 8. I'm not sure what he's doing by canceling all his private workouts. That leads to the mystery for me. But at Rutgers last season, as a freshman, he averaged 17 and a half points and 7 rebounds. He's the only Big Ten player last season to be top 10 in points, rebounds, and blocks in the conference. He's also one of only 4 Big Ten freshmen over the last 5 decades to average 17 points and 7 rebounds. Interesting list here. The other 3, Magic Johnson, Chris Humphreys, and Jared Sullinger. So, interesting list. Rutgers University has never had 2 first-round picks in the same draft. These guys could both be top 5, maybe top 3 with the talent. So that begs the question, why the hell did Rutgers suck last season? 15 and 17 overall, 8 and 12 in the Big Ten, didn't even sniff March Madness. What the fuck was going on at Rutgers with 2 potential top 5 picks? I got Bailey going number 6. Usually you want to look at the coach, but I respect Steve Peichel. I think he's a respected coach in the community. So I don't know what the hell is going on with Rutgers. That leads to the mystery here. But Ace Bailey, I don't see him dropping any further than number 6. Lot of talent. With the number 7 pick in the 2025 NBA draft, I had the New Orleans Pelicans drafting another Duke freshman. This time the big dog in the middle, Kaman Malawach. Listed at 7'1", 253 pounds. Modest numbers last season, playing next to big dogs. 8.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, a block and a half. Shot 71% from the floor. Now I know there wasn't probably any jump shots. Okay, a lot of dunks, a lot of layups, a lot of hooks, but 71% from the field is still impressive. There's only been 2 teams in the modern draft era to have 3 top 10 picks. Now I've got Malawach going here. I got Knueppel going number 4. Obviously, Flagg going number 1. So 3 top 10 picks. Duke this year is what I got. Duke in 2019 with Zion, RJ Barrett, and Cam Reddish. and Florida in 2007, coming off back-to-back rings with Al Horford, Corey Brewer, and of course Joakim Noah. This would be the third time ever a team, a single school would have three top 10 picks. Impressive from the Dukies. Come on, Maluwatch. Yes, I know the Pelicans used the first round pick last season on Baylor center Eves Missy. I like him, but I could see Maluwatch being better. I can see him both playing center there. I like Maluwatch's fit next to Zion. If Zion can figure out his diet and his conditioning and be on the court. But I got Kaman Maluwatch going to the Pelicans, number 7. With the number 8 pick in the 2025 NBA draft, I have the Brooklyn Nets taking freshman from Oklahoma, Jeremiah Fears. I I put him at number 8. I don't know if I believe it. I don't know if he's the eighth best player. I'm not sold on Jeremiah Fears. I have him going number 8 though to the Nets. 6'2" 180 pounds from Oklahoma. Like I said, another freshman. Averaged 17 points last season, 4 boards, 4 assists. I like that. I'm not sure what the plan is in Brooklyn. I hear they're trying to get up to get Ace Bailey. Brooklyn, they're a shit show right now. They went all in, a decade ago on all those older guys. Brooklyn, get out of here for me. But I got Jeremiah Fears going to Brooklyn, number 8. With the number 9 pick in the 2025 NBA draft, I have the Toronto Raptors taking Kasparis Yakachonis, one of the better names in the game last season, Yakachonis. 6'5", 205-pound freshman from Illinois, courtesy of Lithuania. He averaged 15 points last season, 5.5 boards, 4.5 assists. I like that. He can be a solid distributor. They really don't have a point guard settled in there in Toronto. I think he could come in, be a solid distributor for Scotty Barnes, R.J. Barrett, Jacoby Walter on those wings. I like Yakachonis' possible fit in Toronto. With the number 10 pick in the 2025 NBA draft, I had the Houston Rockets, maybe surprisingly, taking Arizona freshman Carter Bryant. Let me tell you about him because you might not know. 6'6.5", 215 pounds. I like the body. Listen to these stats: 6.5 points, 4 rebounds, only 19.5 minutes per game last season. Arizona, they were a solid team, a 4 seed, made the Sweet 16. But this guy was coming off the bench. We see it every year. Guys not getting, veterans ahead of them in the rotation at the collegiate level, and they're coming off the bench. They turn out to be top 10 picks, lottery picks. Carter Bryant is that guy this season. Houston, they just made the big deal for Kevin Durant. Tune in this week to High Fiber Sports to hear what me and the boys have to say about the Kevin Durant deal. But Carter Bryant to Houston, I like the fit because Houston's ready to go. They got their starting lineup. Carter Bryant can fill 12, 15 minutes off the bench. 3-and-D role player. He shot 37% from deep at Arizona as a freshman. I like Carter Bryant's easy fit into Houston. With the number 11 pick in the 2025 NBA draft, I have the Portland Trailblazers taking Maryland big man Derek Queen. Listed at 6'9", 248 pounds. He was a freshman for the Terps. Averaged 16.5 points, 9 rebounds, shooting 53% from the floor. This was the best Maryland team in a while. The 4 seed, they make it to the Sweet 16, lose to eventual champion Florida, so that's a lot of respect. This guy Derek Queen, he travels on the play. But he makes a huge game winner over Colorado State in the second round. That was a great moment of the tournament, one of the best. Shout out to my guy Ben Powell. He's the biggest Terps fan I know. He was loving Derek Queen in this season. Portland, they got a lot of dudes. They got a lot of top picks. They got a lot of bodies. They just need to take the best player available. Best player available at number 11 for me is Derek Queen from Maryland. With the number 12 pick in the 2025 NBA draft, I've got the Chicago Bulls taking BYU guard Yegor Demin. 6'8", 199-pound freshman from BYU. That's maybe why you didn't hear about him. BYU, solid last season, Big 12. Yegor, he averaged 10.5 points, 4 boards, 5.5 assists. Good distributor at 6'8". I got Chicago Bulls taking him. You got Josh Giddey, Matas Buzelis was a top pick last season. Those guys are kind of all the same. Yegor Demon. It might be overload with those kind of skill sets. I'm not sure. Kobe White still balling there, but Chicago Bulls, they're just in purgatory every year. Just take the best player on the board, and it might be Yegor Demon from BYU at number 12. With the number 13 pick in the 2025 NBA draft, I have the Atlanta Hawks taking Nick Clifford out of Colorado State. Now, yeah, I went to see the Rams up in Fort Collins each of the last 2 seasons, so I am familiar with Nick Clifford. But let me tell you about him. 6'5", 202 pounds, super senior from the Rams. He played his first 3 years at Colorado out there in Boulder, where the Buffaloes roam. So interesting transfer. You don't really see that a lot from Colorado to Colorado State. Played 5 years in college, so he's a little bit older, 23 years old. But Atlanta Hawks, I'm not sure the direction. With Trae Young, if you keep him, you're trying to win right now. So you don't want one of these young guys. You want an experienced guy like Nick Clifford, go next to a Kong Wu, Dyson Daniels. You got Risa Shea, number 1 pick last season. Nick Clifford, listen to these numbers for Colorado State last season. I know it's the Mountain West, but they won a game in the tournament, so let's have a little respect. Nick Clifford last season, 19 points per game, 9.6 rebounds. He's listed at 6'5", 9.6 rebounds, 4.4 assists, shot 50% from the floor. I know it was the Mountain West. I know it's Colorado State. Those are impressive numbers. Nick Clifford, a big-time sleeper here in the draft. With the number 14 pick in the 2025 NBA draft, I have the San Antonio Spurs taking big man from Michigan, Danny Wolf. Now, I'm higher. I'm much, much higher on Danny Wolf than the consensus out there. 6'10.5", 252-pound junior from Michigan. Big body. He spent his first 2 years at Yale. He got the Bulldogs to the March Madness 2 seasons ago, okay? Was the MVP of the tournament, the Ivy League tournament. He transfers to Michigan. The numbers don't come down. At Michigan last year, he averaged 13 points, 9.7 rebounds for the second consecutive season, 9.7 rebounds, and 3.6 assists from your 6'10" big man. He led the Big Ten in rebounding with those 9.7 per game, and this is while playing next to Vlad Golden. Vlad Golden's a big dog, 7-footer, out there to muck it up, be dirty, and rebound. Yet Danny Wolf is playing next to him and leads the Big Ten in rebounding. And I know it's crazy to compare anybody to the 3-time MVP, Nikola Jokic, out here in the Mile High City, Denver, Colorado. I know it's crazy to compare anybody to Nikola Jokic, but Danny Wolf gives me those vibes. The way he brings the ball up the floor, 3.6 assists a game at the college level at 6'10.5" impresses me. I think San Antonio Spurs sitting there at number 14. They keep this pick. If Wemby's healthy, we already talked about Dylan Harper going there to fit alongside Castle and Fox. If Wemby's healthy, you can play Danny Wolf as a backup to Wemby. He can come in, give you 18, 22, 25 minutes a game. Or you can play Danny Wolf next to Wemby. I like the fit. I like the fit for Danny Wolf in San Antonio. And that's going to do it tonight for Keeping It Breezy, courtesy of High Fiber Sports. I wanted to give the people out there a quick mock lottery, the top 14 of the NBA draft. Like I said, it's 2 nights before the draft. There might be some trades tomorrow. Who knows? Also, I want to give me an out here, give me a caveat that I might be too low on these 3 Frenchmen. Excuse me if I'm mispronouncing their name. Noah Esengwe, Nolan Traore, and Joan Beringue. France, they're coming up. Got a lot of young prospects. I'm just not sure about these guys. I've obviously never seen them, but I hope I'm not too low on them. I hope I'm not sleeping on them. Like I said, thank you for coming out, and stay tuned. In a couple days, the boys are going to be back in action for our weekly episode of High Fiber Sports.